Hey there, gang. Question for you. I really want to know what you think about this. I was having a conversation yesterday with my rep at Vintage King, Cody, and we were talking about something else, and somehow we got into talking about whether or not I used a certain device I bought from him in post-production, which I hadn't tried yet, but I was. And then we were talking about that I use a kind of a modified Michael Brauer mixing technique. Now, if you don't know who Michael Brauer is, he's the one that's got like a ton of parallel compression going on, but it's a lot more detailed than that. And I said, yeah, and I started explaining what I was doing and how I had tweaked it to my own tastes. And he's like, oh, I tried that and it didn't really work. And I was like, well, did you do this? Did you do this? Did you do this? Because there's a lot of elements to it. The reason I'm telling you all this is because no sooner than this morning, I'm on YouTube and I'm scrolling through and I come up with someone who I've seen before. It's not somebody I follow regularly, but they're like, here are the mix buses of the stars. And it had Michael Brauer and it had Chad Blake and a whole bunch of other people. And there was so much wrong with it. First of all, starting with the Michael Brauer, like I've used that system. I've also used the same system that some of these others do. And I say system because the thing that's really wrong with what a lot of people are trying to show you is they're not telling you what goes on before the mix bus, because that informs the mix bus. And that's the conversation I had with my buddy Cody over at Vintage King. And he was like, wow, okay, and now I understand, because it matters. So if you ever want me to discuss some of that stuff, because I've shown you some mastering things and other tips and tricks and gear and whatever, but that part is really important. And I'm throwing this out there to you because I've tried many, many, many different things on my mix bus. What works, what doesn't work? Well, the material matters, and everything before you get to the mix bus matters. And there's no right or wrong answer. So maybe if you want me to do something like that one day where we just run a mix that hasn't been mastered through the mix bus, a mix that hasn't been run through the mix bus yet, through a bunch of different mix bus combinations to let you hear what each different combination actually does. And the combinations that I've gone through in my career, let me know if you want to hear and see something like that, and I'd be glad to do it. Okay? Cool.